Hi, I'm Lachlan Wilmot and I'm the Strength and Power Coach here at the GWS Giants. Over the past few episodes of this season, we've been starting to look at return to play progressions for our plyometric or jump land training. But now we've started to touch on return to performance. So the idea behind building the foundation of our athlete with their landing angles and the way they can absorb force, ensuring that now that we've progressed to more continuous or stretch shortening style movements, that they're ready to go and they can absorb and produce some really good force a lot of the time through a stretch shortening cycle. We've also looked at some rotational movements as well and how we can start to introduce them into their progressions. Today, we're going to start looking at lateral output, and we're going to use Maddie to demonstrate a couple of examples of where we can start to introduce some lateral movements into the progressions using obviously the foundation that we have already built. So going forward, each episode, building on the next part and adding that or progressing our athletes to make sure that we're pushing them closer and closer to their return to performance. This exercise that we're going to go through with Maddie is known as a half kneeling lateral bound. It's a really good way to start to teach the athlete the positive shin angle position, or meaning that shin being forward, ready in an athletic position for either a takeoff laterally or acceleration in the forward position. So we're going to take it through now. If Maddie was to take a half kneeling position for me, she's going to be upright, nice and tall, and what she's going to do is get her athletic stance ready and slowly shift her body weight forward. So her shin angle is slowly becoming more and more positive, and she's going to find that she can feel that strong position, that position that she can take off from. As soon as she feels that position, she's then laterally drive that leg and push over into a simple lateral bound. Upright, shifting forward, getting that positive shin angle, find it, then explode through and stick. Good. This exercise is a really good one to start to elongate the time of her concentric portion. So making sure that she can really produce that concentric power from depth, because obviously in a court or a field sport, she's most likely going to produce that lateral power from a more upright position. But we can start her in this position, teach her the positives of having that shin angle forward, but also teach her to try and produce a lot of concentric force from that bottom position. Okay, shifting forward, get that positive shin angle, drive off and stick. Well done, really nice, good balance. Let's go again. Upright, shifting forward, getting that positive shin angle, find it, then explode through and stick. Good. So now Maddie's started to utilize a little bit of lateral movement, and we've obviously shown from that depth or that half kneeling position that it's a little bit higher time for her concentric power, which is a really good place to start. Now we want to challenge the stretch shortening cycle, and we want to utilize a little bit of a prep step to get her going, but still chase that lateral bound. So what Maddie's going to demonstrate now is a lateral bound with a prep step. So a little jump to the left, and then she's going to absorb really quickly and then drive back to me, stick that landing. All the same principles we've been looking at, making sure that she's actively pulling herself into that landing and making sure that the contact time's nice and quick on the outside. So Maddie, let's give us a bit of a demonstration. Good, nice stick, well done. We do a little bit quicker prep step. Here we go. Set, push and drive. Lovely, really good. So you'll notice she's really quick off the prep step, that's one of the goals, but she's also pushing, not reaching. A lot of people when they do lateral bounds or any type of lateral movement is they're reaching with their outside leg when the target is actually inside leg, that leg that's pushing off the ground. So a big cue for your athletes is to make sure they're not reaching out with their outside leg, they're going to push away with the inside leg. So for Maddie in this situation, she's going to be pushing with her left leg and her right leg should just be coming straight up and down. It's not reaching out to try and gain more centimetres. Here we go, another demo. Prep and drive. Good, nice stick, pulling herself nice and deep into it. Prep, load and stick. Good, let's set the landing, reset. Little prep and drive. Well done. You'll also notice sometimes Maddie has a tendency to egg beat her leg. Some people will do that. They'll try and get extra momentum by swinging that leg around. Same cue applies. Really make sure it's all about pushing with the left, not using that right for momentum. Or in other words, inside leg pushing, outside leg should just be static. Let's go one more. Good, much better, really good. Nice absorption. So in previous episodes and seasons, we've talked about the importance of different vectors, angles, and different planes of movement when we're doing plyometric training or jump land training. So in this instance, with our lateral work, it's so important to bring our athletes up to speed with not just the force production point of view, but also the stretch shortening side of our lateral movements. Like you saw with Maddie, we started with that long concentric power output from our half kneeling position and progressed her into a more stretch shortening cycle orientated movement, which involved the prep step. Again, with any lateral movements, really ensure that we're pushing, not reaching. It's one of the biggest cues we can use with our athletes, making sure that they're pushing the ground away, not reaching with their outside leg. So we've spoken in previous episodes and seasons about the importance of different vector angles, different planes of motion, and making sure that we're accounting for all of them with our athlete development. Same applies with our progressions with return to play and return to performance. So the lateral component is something that's so important for our athletic development along with our return to play. So this comes into play for our return to performance to make sure that our athletes are ready to go from all vector angles and making sure that their stretch shortening cycle is perfect before they go back into play.